Working with credit card companies after someone passed is going to be a interesting situation. First off, you might have it where they pay all their bills for their credit cards automatically, so it's based on email messages and automatic payments with their bank. So you might not know all of those details. Additionally, if you are not a joint owner on that credit card or someone who's been approved to speak on behalf of the person, you're going to run into potentially issues associated with that if you're not the executor of the estate, and potentially if you do not have a copy of the letter of administration or the letter of testimony from probate. But let's work through the situation where you have these details or you have a couple components. And again, one of the other parts that you will need a copy of is a copy of the will. You see, if it's going to email, then you're going to need to have it where it comes out of their email so that you're able to see it. This is why one of the things I mentioned in other videos is to get things sent to you via physical mail so that you can look over the bills. Now, if this was, say, your partner or your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you will know what their expenses are and you will know what they were spending money on, hopefully. If not, then you're going to have to do a little bit of review and examination on them on what was being spent. Because one of the things that you will start to learn about is you as an individual are not responsible for the debts accrued by someone that has passed. And what I mean by that is I've now spoken with multiple collections agencies and they've reiterated paying for someone's debt is the responsibility of the estate. It does not come from joint accounts or from individuals. So like myself with my mother, I am not responsible personally for my mother's debt. My mother's estate is responsible for her debt. And this is a very interesting distinction. As being the executor, you are responsible to handle the debts and the transfer of funds to the debt collectors and the beneficiaries. You as an individual are not responsible to take the funds from your personal accounts in order to pay off the debts. Okay? Now, what that means is if the estate is insolvent, meaning there is no funds, they died destitute, or there are different things that come about, those credit card debts will not be able to be paid. And the banks will need to have evidence that you are not able to pay them as a representative of the estate. Okay? So these are things that you need to work through and make sure you handle properly in order to avoid potential issues that might become legal associated with you. The other thing is, if you are the executor of the estate, and as mentioned, you are working through just trying to find out the bills and things, the only things you can do is provide them a copy of the person's death certificate and the copy of the will naming you as the executor, and potentially the letter of testimony, letter of administration that formally announces you as the personal representative for the estate. Those will get you access to finding out things related to the bills, related to those credit cards, and seeing statements and components on them. The credit card companies will work with you if they dub you or recognize you as the executor of the estate or the next person in line in order to handle their affairs. So if they have debts, they will start to come after you, or more likely talk with you to work through the debts. Now, a big thing is that what do you need to pay for now versus waiting? And at the end of the day, it really comes down to a judgment call. On credit cards, I would, and again, what I'm about to say is not legal or financial advice. These are things that if you do these at your own discretion, or talk with an estate attorney if you want to. But these are things that I have looked through and have reviewed. Pay the credit cards that are working with you and those bills with the estate funds that you have the capability of paying. So say there is a credit card bill for say $50 and you have that from the estate, and that $50 is not a big deal to take from the estate funds right away. Cut a check, pay it. Get it out of the way so you don't have to worry about it. If there's questions about things related to the bill, and it's not going to impact your quality of life after they pass. And what I mean by that is that the person might have put their cell phone, they might have put car insurance, they might have put electric or other things on their credit card, and those need to get paid in order for you to live in the home. If none of that is on there, then what you can do is simply not pay the bill right away and let it go to collections. Now, when it goes to collections, you will then have an opportunity to speak with the collections team. And what will more than likely happen is that they're just looking to get the debt paid. And similar to some of the things that we're going on right now in early 2023, where there's some financial troubles, you will have it where there is a good potential that they will allow you to pay pennies on the dollar or a fraction of the amount that's owed on that credit card in order to pay off that bill. So say, for example, the credit card is $300. They might say, look, if you want, just pay us $150 and we'll write the whole thing off. That's a possibility. They could say that, look, it's $300 and all you have to give us is $100 and that'll write it off. That's again a possibility if it goes to collection versus you paying the full amount. These are things you need to decide when working with the credit cards and handling those things. The other thing is the fact that almost every credit card today has cash rewards or some type of discount program that when you pay money for a purchase, they will give you, say, 2%, 3%, or some amount back. Those funds or that amount after someone passes are something that is entitled to the estate to be returned to the person's estate if you work with them. Now, the thing is that because the fact that it is geared to the specific person, you are going to have it where that is going to be sent back to the person in one of two ways. Either one, which would be amazing in some cases, the cash rewards go towards paying off a portion of the credit card bill. So say they have 10,000 points and that means that it's $100. The credit card company might say, look, we'll take $100 off the credit card bill from the cash rewards and then you pay the difference. That's a great thing too. Or they'll have it where they'll work with you and just have it where they'll mail you a check for the cash rewards. If they mail you a check for the cash rewards, one of the things you're going to need to do is talk with them about having it where, again, if you have not been able to establish the estate account yet, and you have not been able to get the letter of testimony or letter of administration, to work with them to try to have it where, as being the executor, they have it where it is either written out to just their name or their name, care of you, who's the executor, so you're able to deposit it into an account. The whole point on that is because all of these funds will all be written out by default to the estate of the person. So as the example of John Doe passing away, if there's cashback rewards, they will be written as a check to the estate of John Doe. You need to work with the credit card companies in order to avoid that if you do not have that estate account already set up. Okay. If there is a credit on the credit card, that is able to be returned as well. And the same thing, work to try to have it where it does not say the estate of, but the person's name or the person's name, care of you as the executor handling these components. Most credit card companies will work with you to handle this because it's not that much of a problem with you, or it's not much of a problem for them to do this. But you need to have those conversations with them. And again, these are where letter of requests or letter of instructions might need to come into place if they ask you for them. And you will be sending them copies, as mentioned, copies of the death certificate, copies of the will, your ID, their ID, everything to let them know that the person has passed, and working with them to work through these things. If there's any inaccuracies or your belief of inaccuracies, again, let it go to collections. Let the collections team mail you all of the statements associated with the person. In the case with myself, when I had a question about the charges on the credit card, I worked with the collections department and they mailed me 1 year of statements from the credit card so I can review them to make questions about them. And then I'm able to then have it where I'm able to question those potentially fraudulent or unknown transactions so I can work with it. So, maybe it's one of those things that the person had purchased travel or put a down payment on jewelry or something, and it was something that was going to be a gift for you, or it was something for the future that they were putting a deposit on a hotel. You can potentially have it where you protest that because the person was not able to take advantage of that because they had already passed. So these are things that you can discuss and have it worked out. So, for example, let's say it was a budget or Hertz or enterprise rental car. They put a deposit, they prepaid for that rental car, but they never used it, so they never picked it up. If there's enough time and enterprise, budget, or Hertz wants, and they don't have an issue with it, you're able to just cancel it off and there's no worries on that. So there's these type of things that you can collaborate and work on. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave comments below the video. I'll review them and get back to you as soon as I can. And always hit the like and subscribe button to this channel so that you're informed about new videos that I'll be coming out with related to different topics such as these loss handling components or other life planning components as those ones get developed. See you in the next video.